All right, today I'm going to be reviewing The Devil Wears Prada. That is a 2006 movie directed by David Frankel, and it's mostly a comedy, but also has a lot of elements of romance and drama in it. And surprisingly, neither my wife nor I had seen this movie before. It was one of her picks to add to our watch list. It's one we have both heard a lot of great things about, and I feel like it's regarded as a top tier mid 2000s comedy. I can't say the movie disappointed, even though some of the jokes have aged poorly. It was a fun watch. All that being said, let's dive into the review. So, to start off, as we always do, I'd like to summarize the plot and then go through some of the themes that I saw from the movie. This film follows Andrea, who goes by the name Andy, an aspiring journalist with a degree from Stanford Law that she has yet to put to use. She is immediately shown interviewing at Runway, which is a fashion magazine, to be the assistant to the editor in chief of the magazine named Miranda. Although she is completely new to the world of fashion, Andy is thrust into it in a trial by fire situation, and the dedication that Miranda expects from Andy immediately puts strains on her relationship with her family, her friends, and her boyfriend Nate, which forces Andy to really self analyze and prioritize what she wants out of life. I think the story is really a cautionary tale more than anything. It serves as a warning of the dangers of letting your work become your sole focus in life. Andy meets many individuals in the fashion industry, and just about every single one of them is all about fashion all the time. There were multiple individuals, her boss Miranda included, who really seemed to be trapped in their careers and had to put on a facade of enjoying it at all times. Any attempt by Andy to make small talk is immediately dismissed, and work becomes the focus of the conversation within seconds. I am fully on board with the message of this movie, as I think there is a very prevalent mindset in America, especially of letting one's occupation define themselves. One of the first questions that is always asked when meeting someone new is, "What do you do for work?" So it may not be intended to come across that way, but for the most part, I really don't care what my friends or family do for work. I'd much rather ask if they are happy and feeling fulfilled in life, which I think was the point of Andy's character throughout the story. At least that's what I got from it. So the main character of our story is Andy, who is played by Anne Hathaway, and then there were really five characters in her life that I'd say were the focus of this movie. So there's Miranda, who's Andy's boss and the editor in chief of the magazine. She's played by Meryl Streep. Emily is a fellow assistant to Miranda, so she's Andy's coworker, and she helps Andy get her feet under her in the fashion world. She's played by Emily Blunt. Emily playing Emily, that's convenient. And then Nigel is played by Stanley Tucci, and he's an 18-year employee underneath Miranda, and really her right hand man at the Runway magazine. And then there's Andy's love triangle that she works throughout the movie with her current boyfriend Nate, who's played by Adrian Grenier, and then her new temptation Christian, who's played by Simon Baker. Meryl Streep was actually nominated for the Best Actress role for her role in this movie, or the Best Actress Oscar for her role in this movie. And while she didn't win this time, she was absolutely fantastic as the overly demanding boss, Miranda. There was one scene where Miranda let her guard down while talking to Andy, and it only lasted a couple of minutes, but Meryl Streep really leaned into her dramatic roots and stole the scene completely. Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci are always fantastic, and I think they found a great balance between the comedic and dramatic acting as well, finding the right notes for each scene. And then Emily Blunt, she was hilarious, a lot of comedic relief in this movie, and she had probably some of my favorite lines in the whole film. Everyone else was honestly pretty forgettable, but those four leads were enough to keep me engaged throughout the movie. So moving on to visuals and cinematography, I'm actually going to try to incorporate a couple of clips throughout this review for the first time, so bear with me if they don't flow with my discussion as well as I'd like. This is my first time trying it, but overall, the camera work on this one was pretty standard and not too like flashy or technical. There were a couple of scenes that I wanted to applaud and point out though. When they arrive in Paris for the big fashion show, there is an aerial shot of the Eiffel Tower and of the street level view of Paris that had me wanting to pack my bags and head to Europe on the next flight out. Really, the whole time they were in Paris, David Frankel made sure to capture the romance of the city, and I think the movie did a great job of that. And here's that Eiffel Tower scene or shot, just so you can see that. Otherwise, it wasn't anything to write home about, but it also didn't distract from the movie watching experience. And then as far as like costumes, this movie was also nominated for Best Costumes at the Oscars. I can't say I know anything about high fashion, but I learned that belts and the color cerulean are important from the movie. I know men's fashion a little bit more, which isn't saying much, but Stanley Tucci's character was always looking incredibly dapper. His suits were always perfectly tailored, and that's about all I can offer there, but everyone looked great in this movie. So the soundtrack here was actually better than I expected. There were a couple of scenes that stood out that I want to mention. I could have included this one in the costumes discussion, but I wasn't 100% sure where it fit best. But there's a scene where Andy starts really trying to fit in with the fashion world and steps up her game with a bunch of different designer outfits. And the song Vogue by Madonna is playing. I thought that this was a fun, upbeat song that really got you feeling like Andy was making strides in the fashion industry and was really putting everything together. She was walking with confidence, and the camera cuts or transitions between each outfit were really well done and memorable for me. I'm going to try to throw in a short little clip of that scene so you can see what I'm talking about there. The second scene that I really noticed a great song selection was when Andy and Christian are in Paris together and a French cover of Dream a Little Dream of Me is playing. I had never heard this version of the song. I usually think of Ella Fitzgerald singing it, but it was really fitting for the scene and the romantic mood, and it kind of set that perfectly. Again, the Paris scenes were excellently modeled and really felt romantic to me. So the dialogue. Unfortunately, I think that the writing is what keeps this movie from being really high on my recommendations list. Yes, there were some incredibly funny one-liners, and really most of the interactions between Andy, Miranda, Emily, and Nigel are all well written and make sense for those characters. However, outside of that, there are about 5 jokes that call Anne Hathaway fat, which I know it's the fashion industry or you have to be a size 0, whatever, but it was just so unbelievable to me, and those have aged like milk, although I'm not really sure how they were received in 2006 since I just watched this for the first time. Also, when any other character other than those main 4 are on screen, their actions just made no sense. Nate was a man-child for most of the movie, and her friends are so immature, even to the point where they played monkey in the middle with Andy's phone while it was ringing so that she couldn't answer it. It was one of those with friends like these who needs enemies type of moments, and it just did not seem like realistic behavior to me for a group of well-educated adults. I'm just going to play a short clip of that scene here so you can see that one too.
No, that thing up is gonna answer. It's gonna answer. That's how it's gonna make. Give me the phone.
But when thinking of memorable lines, there was one that made my wife and I laugh pretty hard, and I think half of it was Emily Blunt's delivery and her incredibly real-sounding laugh after saying it. Let's see if I can play the clip here.
Me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have some prior commitment? Some hideous skirt convention you have to go to?
So then there was a few other quotables, especially from Meryl Streep's character Miranda, that had me laughing too. Florals for spring. groundbreaking. It was one, and then details of your incompetence do not interest me, which was said to Andy when she was trying to explain her mistakes. So those were both really good, funny lines. Like I said, the comedy was there in this movie, but the sideline characters were just there to move the plot along instead of feeling like real people, which I think is a real knock on the movie. So overall, I enjoyed my time with the film. It was a fun movie that had me laughing and getting invested in the lives of the main characters throughout. It's a feel-good story that tries to convey the message that work isn't everything and that we should find our fulfillment elsewhere. I'd recommend this movie to anyone who needs a good laugh, anyone who wants a cheesy romance subplot, anyone who has had a boss from hell, or anyone interested in fashion. There's more good than bad in this one, and I don't think anyone would really regret watching it. So for all those reasons, I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5. So thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.